Welcome back to the second half of my Clash of Kings UK 2019 tournament report. If you are interested in, continuity or knowing what happened in the first three, please go back and watch that. If you are not that bothered by the first three, that's fair enough. There's a spoiler warning about the results. I'll leave a gap here in case you're like, oh no, I really want to watch it all the way through. Here's a spoiler warning, gap. Okay, so the first three games I got 2 victories and 1 loss. And so I'm going into the second day, or my third day, but the second day of Clash of Kings, about 21st, so I can't remember, 24th, 21st. It's at the end of the last battle report. You should watch that. This is obviously not version 3, so if you are expecting more version 3 excitement, then you'll have to wait while I plow through this nonsense. So a quick note of errata before I start. The useful thing about having a gap between your battle reports is that in the last battle report, I said that Simon that I played was the Simon that had a tournament named after him as Can Anyone Beat Simon? That was actually a different Simon. So, whoops, I've downgraded it slightly in my estimations. Sorry about that. That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? However, Simon that I did play did come second at last year's Clash of Kings, so I was right about that, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, feel free. So sorry about that to the actual Simon that is the Can Anyone Beat Simon? Moving on. So on to day 2. So my first game. Oh no, wait, right, fine, good. So first, let's quickly go through my list because obviously it's been the last few out reports has been the same list, but just in case you haven't seen enough of my wonderful list, it was 2 regiments and a horde of tunnel slaves. It was 2 hordes of shock troops. One had dwarven ale. One had the potion of the caterpillar. 1 horde of blight with the brew of strength. 3 troops of claw shots, 3 weapon teams with piercing, a warlock with bane chant and the inspiring talisman, a swarm cry with the diadem, and a demon spawn with wings. Okay, so that's the list. On to my game 4, which was against Night Stalkers. Here's some Night Stalkers, and they had some Forces of Nature allies. This was Cy Brand's list. So Cy is a very good player who I have played before, but only on Universal Battle, where he beat me because I'm terrible. So this was his list. It has 2 regiments of Naiad Heartpissers. These are the Forces of Nature allies. That's all of the allies. It's just because he felt they're better shooters than the shooters you could get in the Night Stalker list, which, is true. A regiment of Doppelgangers, which was the unit that beat me in the last game we played. A regiment of Phantoms with the Orcish Skullpole. So those are the flying dudes. I think those are the ones with Wind Blast. I've got to be honest, Night Stalkers still confuse me, still confuse everyone. 2 hordes of Butchers and a Shadow Hulk, which make up the Butchers block formation. So that gives the whole formation +1. The Shadow Hulk gets +1 speed. Everyone gets brutal, and that's important, and you'll see why. A regiment of Nightmares with a Staying Stone. I can't remember if those are the ones with the one of them's got Wind Blast. One of them's Light Defense 5 flying. Right. A Portal of Despair. So this is the advanced deployment portal that gives dread within 9 inches. Horror with weakness and drain life also comes with Surge as like a base. A Butcher Flesh Ripper with Alchemist's Curse. I think he's got Surge 3 as well. A Dread Fiend, which is like the speed 8 fast chariot kind of guy. He's not a chariot, but he's speed 8 quick, kind of like a Knucker, but not as good. And then he's got Funny Bone. Right, Funny Bone is a special character. You can buy 50 points. Pretty much anyone on the evil armies can take him. He also gives Dread. So he's a dash 13 with Dread. So I've played pretty much this list before, something close to it. It's a Dread themed list. So he wants to fight. He puts the Portal Despair out in advanced deployment. He wants to get, so the Butchers and the Shadow Core all got brutal. He's got Funny Bone for -1. Portal Despair -1, so it's a -3 nerve if you're anywhere near those units and they come into you. That's not fun. So that's the theme of the list. It's a nice trick and I like it. So let's take a look at the battlefield. So this is slightly confusing, and I need my pen. Very exciting. Here comes the pen. So the battlefield is from here, right? That's the 6x4 table. Okay, so obviously these 2 tables at the front were made up of 3 4x4 mats. So look, this is like a 4x4 like Vanguard or whatever map, all right? So the yellow tape is the edge of the battlefield. It gets confusing, but I'll explain it with words and pictures as we go. So There were 2 height 2 hills. There were 2 height 4 forests. There were 3 height 4, but a lot of blocking terrain in these, in all pretty much all of them, So it's 3 height 4 buildings and 3 height 1 walls. So a lot of the terrain is over that side of the battlefield, right? Here, less so big, killing field here. Okay, and this is after deployment. So I'll show you how he deployed. So that was and scenario, right? So this is probably the scenario that Sai would definitely not. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you. No one wants this. It's kill. Why? Why would you put kill in a tournament? In a tournament like this? So the reasoning was everyone had a hangover, so they wanted to make it nice, an easy game. Except for the fact that kill grotesquely benefits some armies over others. Horde armies in particular. So this is a very good matchup for me. Also, it kind of negates a lot of Simon's special tactics, right? Because what he wants to do is to focus his. So you can see where he's deployed. I'll come through his deployment, but this is the portal. Okay, so he's advancing. He wants to fight here, 9 inches, right? Ish. He wants to fight there, but there's no objectives. In dominate, brilliant. Just stick it in the middle, and then it's horrible for everyone. But for kill, I want to fight everywhere that isn't here. I want to fight here because I don't want that minus nerve tick, okay? And I've got no reason to fight there because I can do pretty much what I want, hence my deployment. I'll come back to this screen in a minute to show you what I mean. So, deployment. So on the left, it's nice talk because no one knows what anything is. This is the Dread Fiend. He's the speed 8 dude. I thought, when we deployed, I genuinely thought that was the, what's the dragon called? Okay, they've got a speed 10 dragons as some of them, soul something. That's got my head. They've got a speed 10 dragon anyway. Defense 4, but speed 10 hits hard. I thought it was one of those, and I deployed accordingly. And he went, "Oh no, it's not." I was like, "Err." These are the, I want to say nightmares, so the hitty ones, the ones that don't have wind blast, right? This is the Butcher Flesh Ripper, so he's the Alchemist Curse guy, and this is the first unit of Butchers. That's the second unit of Butchers. These are the 2 regiments of Naiad Heartpieces. They're in the woods. And this is his horror here. That's the horror with Surge and all the other spells and stuff. Oh, and this is Funny Bones here behind these Butchers. So obviously, I'll come back to that in a sec. This is his Shadow Hulk. These are the Doppelgangers. These are really cool miniatures. If you can see, they're kind of half made out of what are those GW kind of people, but they've got kind of ghosts coming out of them because they're doppelgangers. That's really cool. And these are the Wind Blast unit. Okay, so that's the Regiment of Phantoms. Okay, so let's just go back here to look at his deployment. So what he's done, this is the advance where he's advanced deployed his portal. He's got his Butchers either side, right here, and he's got Funny Bone here. Right, so that's -1. That's -1 with Brutal. That's -1. He really wants to fight here. He wants me to come in and face -3 on everything. I don't want to do that. So, on to my deployment. So this is left to right. So I have got the Horde with Caterpillar with some slaves in front. So obviously I want to go, there's 2 woods on this side, my wood here, and there's another wood down there. That's why I want to run into those and hit things without taking a penalty. This is the Horde of slaves with 1, 2, 3 shock troops. And the Diadem Standard Bearer there. And this is the, what are they called? Blight with a Brew of Strength. I've got my 3 claw shots facing into the center of the board with a regiment of slaves in front of them. And then over on the right, don't forget, this is the edge of the board over here. Ignore this bit, ignore this. Is the Headstrong shock troops with the Demon Spawn behind them. Okay, so let's just go back and I'll tell you why I've done that. So, remembering, I don't want to fight here. This is where I don't want to fight. So I've put my range stuff here. Yeah, so I've got my shock troops here and shock troops here because he's going to have to come to fight me here, which is outside of his kind of nasty -3 to nerve. He can attack my slaves all day. By the time he's done that, these guys and these guys should hopefully have taken off at least one of the hordes of Butchers. And I'm going to try and get the Blight. So the Blight are ensnaring and stealthy, right? So the idea, obviously, is to try and get the blight into the heart pieces. So if I can take off these butchers with this and this, then the blight will be unopposed coming into this. Because all of his fast stuff is here. That's speed 8, speed 10. They're going to be taken up with that. These guys are speed 10. He's speed 7. So they're going to be taken up trying to kill this. So my plan is to get the blight into the heart piercers and then use those guys to kill everything there. Whatever's left gets shot off. Yeah, because he's not got a lot of range. He's got these ranged. But I'm hoping he's going to try and waste them on these, or trying to take off my war engines, right? And in the meantime, I'll just be plinking here. Okay, that's the plan. So let's see how it goes. So I win the roll. I can't remember who won for sides. It's not important. I won the roll off for turn 1. So my turn 1, I perform the incredibly exciting maneuver of moving forwards and moving forwards and moving forwards. So I've gone 12 with the shock troops and I've kept the demon behind him because I want to be lightning bolt. Really, my target for lightning bolt here is this guy because he's the quickest. Yeah, I want him to die. These guys are going to be shooting this here. And these guys can't shoot anything. Right. So there we go. There's the other side of the board. How exciting. So the claw shots are rubbish in this bit. Everything's stealthy. That's the problem, right? So that's the problem with shooting, is that everything's stealthy. So where you've got breath, that's okay. I'm still hitting on 5s, but my claw shots are always hitting on 5s. It's 15 on 5s. Anyway, I do 1 point of damage on this unit, which is rubbish. So size turn. So this is obviously the charge of my shock troops. I've positioned it so he can't get this guy 16 down the side. Possibly deliberately. Can't remember if it was deliberate. I think it might be an accidental, and I claimed it was deliberate. But there is a 12-inch basically like that. So there's 12 inches. I can't charge him with shock troops. So he's going to sit and wait for me to come to him because don't forget he wants to fight here. That's where he wants to fight. Likewise, everything else moves up, and again he's kind of enticing me in. He's saying, "Come on, have a go if you think you're hard enough." Naiads haven't moved because they want to shoot me, and these guys have moved up. So sensible move with these guys. He's moved them around. He's going to try and do some wind blast shenanigans, and then try and get flank. Right. The doppelgangers want to come in at the end. He wants them to come in. So he wants me to engage with this giant, I think it's a -20 or something ridiculous, Shadow Hulk. And then when I bounce off that, he wants to come in with doppelgangers, steal my attacks, and crush me. That was turn 1. Not very exciting. Oh, that's right. So he wind blasted. So he used his wind blast and he pushed my guys back. Oh, you can see how far? 3. So he pushed me back 3. There you go, into the woods. Which is, annoying, but this side I'm actually under strength compared to him, so really I want to be killing the other side and then kind of swoop over at the end if I can. And the Naiads put 9 wounds onto my slaves, and doesn't. Oh, is that a waiver? No. What's that? Yellow token. Why is there a yellow token? Does anyone know? I think he casts weakness. Yeah. So the only thing he could do. So this is the horror here, right? So he's like, oh, I'm going to weakness something. I'm going to weakness your slaves. And I'm like that. All right, if you want. And so he weaknessed my slaves, which is kind of funny. Oh, then he killed them. That's right. So he cast weakness on them. And then he shot them, did a nerve check, and they died. So he's like, oh, I've wasted that. I'm like, yeah, a little bit. Anyway, funny. On to turn 2. So turn 2, I continue to push up. This side is now not looking good at all. So I move them up here. So don't forget, these guys go 20. What I wanted to position was that they can't come. Are they shambling? I should really have the list. Anyway, I want them to charge me. I want this to come in here because, they'll be hindered and it's not worth it. So I've just kind of turned them a bit to kind of tempt them in. I've just shoved these slaves forward because I don't care about them. I want him to have to shoot, charge, do everything he can to kill those slaves because I want to get this lot up here. You see that I've put my war machines are off the hill. All of them are off the hill. So he can't see me with anything, right? And then meantime, so I've turned, right, so I turned the shock troops and pushed them in a little bit. So these guys could charge, but they'll be charging. So in fact, those and those could charge me, right? But I've moved my demon here so that something's going to get flanked. I think last time I tried to lightning bolt and missed. if I recall correctly. I might have done a 1 wound. I might not take a photo of it. I think I'm out of charge, possibly, from those. Yeah, so he can move this unit. He can turn it and come down here, but he's basically going to end up. So he's basically going to end up, I'd say, here and facing the wrong way. So he can do that if he wants, but it leaves this lot with understrengthed, well, less strength, not understrength. But move of the match. Oh, what's that for? Oh, that's why we just moved up. Oh, moved it to you. I remember. I'll come on to that in a minute. Did I take a photo of the thing? I don't. Right. So one thing he didn't see, I think. So you can see here, my slave unit has charged the Portal of Despair because I was within 12 and in the front. I don't know if he didn't see it or just didn't care. It is, so I'll have 12, 24, 36 attacks on 5s and 5s, right? That's rubbish. I'm not going to hit anything. So I did that. But you'll notice here, there is no character here, right? So we got to this point in turn 2, and I'm like, oh my god, I've forgotten to deploy I left my Warlock on the display board. So he very kindly allowed me to kind of late deploy my Warlock. So I put him on, and I said, I won't shoot him because that's not fair. I'll just put him on. He's like, yeah, that's fine. What a nice man. He didn't need to do that, and that was my mistake. So I'm stupid. I was just, I'm sure I had more shooting than this. And I'm like, oh god, I forgot the Warlock. Anyway, happy days. So lightning bolt this time came great. I did 4 points of damage off a 5-point lightning bolt. So woohoo, go demon. And then the shooting from the claw shots put 3 points onto this unit of butchers. And the lightning. Oh, maybe I did shoot the warlock. How rude of me. Yeah, okay. And I'll tell you what, I am just. There you go. This is how you win games. It's by cheating. So 1 point of damage from them onto the phantoms, whatever they're called, the wind blasty guys. So yeah, slaves went in and did 6 points of damage, which is not enough to kill this unit, but is a bit of a laugh. And now, even better, because of the way he's positioned his butchers like this, because what he wanted to do was to tempt me in, he can't charge past me. He's going to have to engage this unit of slaves, which is annoying for him. I mean, they'll absolutely die, but he's going to have to engage them, which is great because then I can move my troops up. Okay, so on to turn 2. So we what's happened here? So he's moved the Shadow Hulk across. He didn't want to take the charge into these guys because he wants to shoot them. Yeah, and these guys have just shuffled a little bit. Ah, hang on a minute. That doesn't look like a unit from your game. So on the table next to us, Chris Walsh was playing a game against. I don't know who was playing, but he had a beautiful army too. And I was just like, I'm really sorry, sir. I'm going to have to take a photo of Chris's unit because, oh my god, look at this. Look at this. So this is an Earth Elemental under here. And I mean, Chris is a really amazing modeler. If you haven't looked him up, look up Perpetual Painter on Instagram where he posts his models. Just look at it. Oh, God, it's gorgeous. Anyway, back to the game. So, like I say, these slaves were within charge range of the butchers, but he couldn't turn and get into them. Maybe he could have done. I think actually he could have done because they were facing like this, weren't they? So he could easily have turned and gone to them, but he wants to shoot them, like I said. And he needs to get rid of the, because if I keep pummeling against this unit, I'm going to kill it. So he takes the butchers into these slaves. And then he moves, so right, he charges in. That's right, he charges in with the Dread Fiend. Because like I said, he could have gone down the side and just sat there, over there. But he was like, well, you're just going to keep lightning bolting me. And has not got a lot of nerve, that Dread Fiend. I think he's like an 11, 13 or something like that. And he suddenly, he thought, oh, actually, you're just going to kill it. So I'm going to take the Dread Fiend in to, annoy me for a turn because it's going to die next turn, right? But then the following turn, he's moved the butchers up, and this guy who's got quite a few attacks, so he can triple charge me next turn, which would not be fun for me. So yeah, there's the Dread Fiend showing where he is. And then he has, oh right, so he wind blasted the Warlock. So he's wind blasted me 4 back. He was hoping, I think, to get me out of inspiring range, but I think I'm still within 6 because that's a 6 intruder, so clearly still within. Heart Piercers do 8. Whoa, not down there. 8 wounds onto this horde of slaves, which is not enough. And the butchers only do 4 wounds. They just rolled like poop. Even with the -3. Yeah, -3 because brutal, portal of despair, and funny bones. So even with the -3, there are 12, 14. There's no one else within range. He did 4 wounds and only managed to roll a waiver. So, that's not good. Turn 3. So I countercharged, and I refused because there were some options to me here, right? So the demon, don't forget, at the start of the turn was here, or slightly back from there actually, because it was an inch, wasn't it? Because he bounced. No, that's where it was because he bounced. Yeah, and so yeah. So I've gone in. So here, I can see all these guys, right? So I could charge here, I could charge here, and I could charge here. So I'm most likely to kill this, but then I would need to overrun. So if you imagine their thing is like that, if I'm here, I need to overrun from the back. I need a 4. I actually looked at it. I need a 4 to overrun to get out of the charge arc, otherwise I'm going to get flanked by this. And actually, even worse, don't forget butchers are shambling, so he could just turn them, and his surger is just up there. He could just surge into a flank. So I'm not doing that. That's stupid. So where this base is, just behind the unit on the hill, is where the demon is because he can't charge me, and I'm still nice and threatening. So that's what we did. Obviously, my wavered slaves did nothing. But I took these slaves, so I risked another yellow belly, and I passed it and went into one of the Naiad regiments. Reason for that is that, one, I'm probably going to do 1 point of damage, even with the ensnare. So I'm going to hit on 7s, but I'm probably going to do a point of damage, so they would then not be able to shoot. And even better, these guys will then be shooting with cover. So they can probably see something. They probably see the blight, so that's pretty much all they can see because I'm on the hill. No, they can't. They can see the war engines as well, but they're going to be shooting with cover, right? Which reduces their effectiveness. So I'll take that. So the slaves went in there, and I moved all 3 of my war engines and my dude here up onto the hill. So this is what I meant about the charge pass thing, right. So because the butchers now, if they turned, they'd be facing like that, and they're charging like that. And that's 12. Yeah, so the blight are out of 12, and they can't charge my war engine. So I'm perfectly happy to have 3 war engines and a hero here because he can't charge them, and I'm going to unleash here. Yeah, so try and shoot off these butchers, who, if you note from last turn, I obviously didn't take a photo of the damage, but took a point of damage from the claw shots. Oh no, that was from the first turn, wasn't it? Yeah, check me out, remembering to take photographs of things. How exciting! Over to the other side. So I've moved like this, and I've just kind of moved. So that's right, yeah, because they were there, weren't they, last turn? So he's just moved them sideways and wind blasted over here, right? Because he realizes that these guys are coming in like a truck. So I just turned these guys again and moved them forward a little bit. I want him to charge me. I don't care really, because I'm in the woods. He's not going to kill me with any of these. He's going to kill me with those maybe, but they're speed 5. Yeah, so their charge is 10, so they're out. The Shadow Hulk is in. They're in, but the Shadow Hulk and those on their own are not going to kill my unit. And then, bye-bye, I get flank. So that's my reasoning. And this actually was. We spent a lot of time and movement at this. You know, I'm not a quick thinker in games. We spent a huge amount of time doing this. So, why are they dead? Why are they dead? Why are the butchers dead? They've already got some damage. How much damage have they got? Looks like 3. So I must have shot them with claw shots and put 3 damage on them last turn. I did. I shot them with claw shots to 3 damage. Wow. Check me the F out. I'm just trying to find out what happened. Right, yeah, wow. So I think I claw shotted them. So I claw shotted them and lightning bolted them. And I've killed them. Don't actually remember doing that, but clearly I did. That's amazing. So 3 claw shots went into them on 5s and a lightning bolt on 5s. And I did enough damage to take them off. Which is, you know, a turning point for the battle. That's just fantastic. Not to be expected. I don't think he did anything wrong here. Honestly, there is no way normally you would expect. They're dash 18. You know what I mean? And inspired. I think I just rolled really well. I think I rolled a 10. It was a 10 to kill twice, and I rolled it and took them off. I can remember things. That's fantastic. Obviously, I killed the Dread Fiend with the Shock Troop because he's just, you can't stand up to that. So now this side is looking distinctly shaky. He's got these flying guys. I'm going to say phantoms, possibly the other ones, the hitty ones, and he's got his Butcher Flesh Ripper. But I've got a Demon Spawn and a unit of Shock Troops that's got 3 points of damage on it, which is what the Dread Fiend did in the last turn. Yeah, that's not looking good this side, especially with the Butcher's gone. That's poor. And I did manage to disorder this unit, so 3 points of damage, which is great, even though I was hitting on 7s. So 12 attacks on 7s, but I managed to disorder them, so that's the plan is going well. This plan didn't go quite as well, so my breath attacks of death, so 30 breath on with piercing 1 and 10 breath without piercing, only managed 6 wounds, which is not as good as I would have liked, but frankly, given how well that went over there, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Showing off again. And then Lightning Bolt put 3 points of damage onto those guys. How much did they have before? Can anyone remember? Beulah? 1. So an extra 2 points of damage onto them from Lightning Bolt from the Warlock. So everything's looking rather good. Aren't these minis cool, by the way? So I put a lot of time into these minis. So these are from various different places, particularly these guys, right? So these are old Treants. I think GW Treants, but he's extended the limbs to make them kind of tall and ghastly. It's a really nice modelling job, and these photos do not do justice to how cool it was. So this turn, obviously, he's not best pleased about what has happened. So these are shambling flyers. All right, so he's done the best move possible to do, which is to turn and turn, right, and come up here. So basically, this is a 1-inch surge. This is surge 3. That guy can't reach, I think, so he needs to hit 1 dice out of 3 to surge this into my flank, which I don't think I would like. There's another photo. Sorry. It's really, I'm such a bad opponent. I'm like, just going to take another photo of this because it was these minis also gorgeous, just beautiful. But this was the end of Chris's game. This was the only unit he had left at this point. Poor guy got absolutely rinsed. There you go. Anyway, back to the game. Yes, we're still on turn 3. It was turn 3 before, wasn't it? It was turn 3 already. I've taken another turn. So I think this is maybe showing the this is showing the clock, right? We're on turn 3. This is our size turn 3. I've got 15 minutes left. He's got 21 minutes left. Whoa, we are taking a long time positioning this game. I think we're chatting as well. It's not helpful. So yes, there you go. Once again, showing that. So this time he took the flank. So having gone into the front and bounced, obviously this is a flank. They weren't expected to last this long anyway, so they are absolutely going to get blown off the map. And he just kind of formed these guys. He still doesn't want to get charged by my shock troops. At this stage of the game, honestly, I'd probably have shoved them forward so I had to charge the Shadow Hulk, right? I think this was just a little bit too cautious. I know the Blight are there as well, but he hung back for an extra turn because the Doppelgangers are quite fragile, but they're absolutely devastating if you get them into a powerful unit. So he's really keen to get them in. So he's just kind of shuffled them around a bit to make it harder for me. He moved them just out of charge. And he did get the surge off. So he surged into the flank of these shock troops. So my advantage here is not looking as advantageous as I thought. And he's wind blasted these guys back. So this was wind blast 2. Look at me being helpful. So he wind blasted them backwards off the hill, which is kind of interesting. You see that they're half off the hill now. That means that I can't charge into the Shadow Hulk as he maybe thought I wanted to. So yeah, that's okay. But having done that, I think the Shadow Hulk could have been here, just outside of 12 maybe, with the Doppelgangers there, and these guys could have been further forward. Yeah, that's what I think he should have done, but he didn't. So there you go. So this was the regiment of Naiad Harpisters that wasn't disordered, shot with cover onto my unit here. 5 points of damage, which is absolutely great, but he only rolled a waiver because they rallied, so it was 9-11, so he must have rolled a 4 or a 5 on his nerve check. Dice not on his side, it's fair to say. So Size turn 3, he after that shooting, he obviously before the shooting, because movement comes before shooting, he's charged the Naiads back in. He's taken them from 8 to 12 damage, but only managed to waver. They were 19-21, so I think they were just outside of Dread. Maybe they had 1 point of Dread from Funny Bones, but they were outside of the range of the portal of Despair. So a waver. So what do you have to roll then? So there are 19. So you had to roll. I don't know. Anyway, he didn't roll well enough. However, obviously the slaves died. I think they had more than 11 damage from bonus, but there you go. So he's turned around again. But I don't mean some healing here because they've gone from 6 to 5. I think he healed maybe with this guy, rather because he couldn't surge. That's right, couldn't surge it, so he moved him over here. Can it heal? Oh, it drained life. He drained life. He drained life here. 1 point of drain life. So that 12 included the point of drain life, and he's healed here. But they're on 5 damage. This is still here. Blart. Yeah. So here he has done 11 points of damage. They already had 3. So he did 8 points of damage from his flank charge, which isn't as good as you'd hope. And he's wavered them, which is really good, except they're the headstrong unit. Headstrong, yay! On to turn 4. So you see, our clocks are not. You don't want that much time left out of a 50-minute game to do turns 4, 5, and 6. Just saying. We were rubbish. So I passed the headstrong roll, and I countercharged, obviously. And then, so he'd moved his butcher over here so that if I charged him, it was in the wall. But obviously, I took that charge because just wanted to. Nothing else to do with the demon. Might as well. And then I did some shuffling here. So I moved one weapon team in front of them, so they have to charge that one. Got my dude here just behind. So basically, what I've got here is just this guy's wavered, so I've moved him off the hill so he can't be shot anymore. This guy's off the hill, so the Naiads can't see him, but he can shoot. So I've got just 30 breath, just 30 breath because this guy's wavered. That's wavered, but I'm happy with that because he's just going to stay there. And then I pulled this maneuver, so I moved these guys forward and I moved these guys forward. So I'm just going to force the issue now. So by doing this, and I've got to be quite impressed with myself because I did this totally without realizing I was doing it. What I've prevented is a triple charge. So he cannot triple charge all 3 units into the Blight. He cannot triple charge all 3 units into here because they just don't fit. He can get the Shadow Hulk and the Doppelgangers into 1, or he can get 2 basically. Obviously, you see the 10 there, so they can't charge a shock troop. So I ummed and ahed. The Doppelgangers absolutely can charge in here, but they'd be taking the ensnare penalty. So be 30 on 5s, not enough to kill. And the Shadow Hulk is not enough to kill on its own either. So smarter than I thought it was. Don't know how I managed that, but there you go. So I forced the issue here. These units both pretty killy. I think more killy than that. So that's my plan. So I put them up to 10 points of damage, and I don't kill them. Disappointing, very disappointing. But I've got another couple of turns because you're going to have to charge my weapon team, right? The demon does 5 points of damage and bounces, which was disappointing. Should have been better than that, but there you go. And still, yes, that's the same thing again. Well done, me. That's lightning bolt, so I took them up to 4. They were on 3 before, I think. So yeah, that's kind of a cool mini, isn't it? Check it out. I like it. It's very nightmarish. So this was size turn 4. So I think this was the best thing he could have done. I think this was really smart. He was umming and ahhing with double charge. There was a chance that if you put the Doppelgangers and the Shadow Hulk into here, that he could have got them. I don't think so. And then I would have countercharged the more scary Doppelgangers, got rid of them, right? So what he did, he sacrificed this unit because they were just going to get lightning bolted off. Excuse me. Oh, dear me, how rude. So he took the Phantoms, Wind Blast Deep Fly unit people into the shock troops. He took the Shadow Hulk into the Blight, and he held back the Doppelgangers, which is smart, because now I'm going to have to countercharge these guys. They may die. This unit is more likely to die. This guy is not going to die, right? So what that means is that if this unit dies next turn, Doppelgangers come into shock troops. A shock troop on shock troop charge essentially may kill them, and that would be bad for me. I'm not going to kill him on the counter charge. It takes a long time to kill the Shadow Hulk, I think. So yeah, really smart move. I thought it was a very good use. Over here, so the Flesh Ripper just turns and backs up so that he's out of the charge arc of my demon, which I think is, again, a very smart move. And he kills my slaves, finally, by countercharging with his Naiad unit. So now the coast is clear for him to start shooting me again, so I need to mop things up pretty quickly. Obviously, this countercharge happens. Does he kill it? I didn't write it down, if I'm honest. I pointed out the clock thing, right? I think he almost certainly did. Let's just say he did. He did. Turn 5. I've got 8 minutes left, chaps and ladies. So I turn my pretty heavily wounded shock troop unit like yay, because I want to kill you, Mr. 8 damage. Oh, he's facing the wrong way. He's facing... Oh, no, he's not. I wonder which way he is facing. Oh, he wasn't even wounded, was he? So he's actually facing... Whoa! Oh, I got rid of my pen. Pen. Right. He's facing this way. So he's not in a great place here, frankly. You think I've got 8 minutes left? He's got 6. Ooh, dear. Get a seat of pants time. But the demon had a charge on the portal, so I took it because it gets me all the way over here. I will absolutely annihilate the portal, and then I'll be facing the rear of everything he's got, the flank of these guys. Yeah, brilliant place for him to be. Spoiler warning, you saw it in the last screenshot if you were paying attention. I shot the hell out of this unit. I took it up to 18 damage, which is its break limit. Double one. So I've double won this unit. If you come back, so what I've done is I've moved. So these guys were obviously on the hill. This guy wasn't on the hill. He was just. I've turned him. I've moved him out of the way. And the other one I've moved up here. Okay, so these two on their own took them up to. They were on 10, so they did 8 damage from 2 of them. Fantastic, 18 damage. And then the other one shot into Funny Bones because it's the only other thing I could see. Right, because this is the front facing, so my facing is like this. So I didn't need to do any more damage to this unit because they're already on 18. So I shot Funny Bones. 8 damage. 8 damage. Oh no, I know what it was. Right, yeah, 8 damage from this guy onto them. The claw shots obviously are still completely operational. He's not been able to touch them, so the claw shots took these guys up to 18 along with these guys. Right, so it wasn't such great rolling. It was just normal rolling. Double one. Wah, wah, wah. And then Funny Bones, 8 damage from these guys. Wah! 8 damage, Funny Bones. He's dash 13. I think I rolled a 3, so he's feeling great. The Blight did 8 damage onto the Shadow Hulk, and as expected, bounced. And as expected, annihilated that unit completely. And I think did I reform? I think I stayed like that because I want him to come in here. Yeah, he's going to come in. That's right. Yeah. So brilliantly. I've turned brilliantly. Not brilliantly. So that was a bit boasty, wasn't it? Shadow Hulk's obviously facing that way. He's not got any surges nearby. I've turned them like this so that the doppelgangers are in the front, but they will be hindered. So I've done the best I can. Yeah. And they're on 7 wounds from Naiads shooting them. So the Naiad shot them. Is that possible? Possibly not. Anyway, they've got up to 7 wounds. So, yep, his turn. He's moved them, the butchers, forward as far as possible because here he has a 2-inch surge into the back of my Blight, which is rubbish. And he's moved Funny Bones over to make sure that they, not only when he goes to the back of them, there's also Dread. So he's got Brutal, Dread, and a rear charge if he gets the surge off. I don't like it. I don't like it. And he's turned the Naiads. They'll have moved, but he can shoot stuff with them, which seems pretty smart. And then, so we unlarge and kind of tried to measure it. He can't get the Flesh Ripper out of charge, so he's just moved him so that when I do charge him next turn, it will be hindered. Right, which is, again, a sensible move. Naiads do 6 wounds onto my War Engine and kill it. Seems sensible. It's kind of funny, the whole game, right? So this Naiad unit that I charged, he'd roll their damage and they'd do 1. And then he'd roll the second unit and do like 5. I'm like, so this unit is clearly the incompetent slacker unit. These guys are really picking up the slack. So yeah, that dies. The other knives, oh yeah, there is a shot across the board into my shock troops. They go up to 15 damage, which is a lot. They were 2022, and then he double ones. So yeah, there you go. Not great. And doppelgangers go in as expected, hindered into my shock troops. He takes them up to 10 points of damage, and he gets a waiver, which is bad for me and excellent for him. So great. Turn 6. There's only like a couple of screenshots here because you saw that. I'll show you the clock at the end. But kind of funny. So I put the rest of my shooting into this unit of butchers who did kill my blight, and I double won them again. I double won them again. I think I just do 1 point of damage or something onto them just to make it happen. Yeah, second double one on the same unit 2 turns in a row. Uh-oh, not great. What's that all about? Who knows? It's a screenshot of my units. So this is where I ended up with them, maybe. Right, so to tell you what happened. So let's just go back a few screenshots because I want to show you where my units were. I should take more up, kind of like top down kind of screenshots. So I think we might take out the. How did the doppelgangers die? They definitely died. Oh, I know what I do. I didn't shoot the doppelgangers. These guys. The demon spawn goes into something. I think it. So don't forget the demon spawn was. Apologies for this, but you know we had a minute left or something ridiculous. So don't forget the demon spawn had killed this completely, right? I double won these. They moved up here, and I can't. I think I looked at the points of it. So these guys probably shot him because they moved up. He went into the flank of these heart piercers. The claw shot something, but I know I had both hordes. No, that's right. Doppelgangers. Yes. So, right. I remember. So you can see the edge of the shot troops here, right? They're wavered from the doppelgangers going into them, right? So all the claw shots shot his giant and took it off, right? The demon went into a heart piercer, took it off, right? So obviously that was, yeah. So demon went into a heart piercer and took it off. We double wonned the butcher unit. We charged into him and, oh no, they were wavered. No, they weren't wavered. They were double won, weren't they? So they went into him, took him off. Yeah, that was gone. So it came to his turn 6, right? So this guy is now dead. These guys are now dead. He's fine. These guys are wavered face, and these guys can come in. He's got 1 unit of Naiad Heart Piercers left. So the demon goes into these ones and kills them. These guys are left. He's got funny bones. He's got this butcher, this guy here, and he had like a minute left on his clock, a minute in his turn, and he's rolling. You can see the demons come down here. So the demon came down here. I'm gonna stop talking rubbish. All right, so both heart piercers survived. Yes, okay, both heart piercers survived. The demon went in the back here, and we double wonned them again. These units moved up, and the claw shots moved up to kill the giant. That's what happened, right? And then he timed out. So in his last turn, in his turn 6A, the tournament clock was counting down. I'm watching his clock for turn 6, and he starts to roll the Naiads shooting attacks onto my demon spawn. And I'm thinking, I really wouldn't do that. Because really, he needs to go for the high value unit. And okay, he's shooting the demon. Demon's worth a lot, but actually the doppelgangers are absolutely going to take off my shock troops. So I'm sitting watching down. He doesn't even get to the nerve roll before he times out. And I'm like, So both of my units of shock troops survived. So in terms of points, I had way more left. It was just really unfortunate. So it ended up as a 17-3, I want to say. Yeah, it was a 17-3 victory to me. Because he timed out. You can see I only got 1 minute 49 left into my turn 6. So yeah, really unfortunate. But really, oh God, we were exhausted. Let me tell you, we were exhausted at the end of this game. you can imagine it was a really positiony game, and we kind of danced around each other a lot of dice rolling, a lot of calculation stuff, and yeah, and timing out at the end, right as the clock was, and they're going, right, dice down, please, like that. We're like, ah. So yeah, really shattering. It was the first game of day two, but just the nicest guy and dressed, let me tell you, immaculately, like a waistcoat, and he's got amazing moustache. I'm talking him up a lot here. I possibly feel slightly guilty about him timing out, but there you go, it happens. Um, so that was the end of my game. So 17-3, so I'm up to now 3-1. Let's move on to game 5. Right, game 5 was against Ogres, who I have not played very much. I think I've played a couple of games. Oh, no, that's not true. I'm making it up again. I've played tons of games against Ogres on Universal Battle 2. I played one game face-to-face against Ogres. All right, so Ogres. This was Richard Tomlinson's Ogres. So he'd obviously done as well as me, because at this point it's Swiss ranked right down your wazoo. I just had an exhausting game, and this was his list. So 2,000 points of Ogres. He had 2 Hordes of Boomers with Blessing of the Gods and Fire Oil, which isn't great. Fire Oil is the one that it cancels regen or something, right? So I've got no regen, so there you go. But Elite Boomers, don't like them. 2 troops of Red Goblin Scouts for objectives and being annoying. 2 regiments of chariots, one with Dwarven Ale, one with Blade of Slashing, and a Warlord, who he had mounted on a chariot and given the banner of the Griffin to. So that makes up the formation Hell on Wheels, which I think gives the chariots an extra thunderous, is it? And the Warlord gives him what's it called? Rally, right? So the banner of the Griffin makes him rally too. So that's what most people do, I think, with that formation. Is give him the banner of the Griffin, an ASB with the diadem, a colossal giant, which is really nice to see. This is the only colossal giant I played against, and the only one I saw. I'm sure there were more, but the only one that I saw. So it was nice to see a colossal giant, I think. Then he had a Nomagorok, who's the Uber Warlock, who is jolly good. And he gets an extra dice for every one of his spells. It's got a horde near him. And then finally he had a horde of Grokagamok's finest braids, which is like the super Uber Berserker horde. Like 30 attacks hitting on 3s. They're absolutely devastating. So I like the list, and the only thing I don't like about it is Hell on Wheels. I've got to be honest, I don't think regiments of chariots are good enough in Ogres. Please tell me I'm wrong. I think the Rally 2 on the Warlord's great, but the regiments, they're kind of, I think if you take Ogre chariots in hordes, they can be absolutely devastating because they're just so punchy. But the regiments, I think their nerve just isn't quite up to what it should be. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Anyway, apart from that, I think it's a pretty good list for Ogres. 2 Hordes of Boomers. Maybe I'd put Vicious on the other ones, but I can see where he spent the points and why he would do that. So there you go. That's just my thing, right? So this was the battlefield. Now you'll notice something familiar about this battlefield, and that would be that big yellow strip down the left, which is over here, right? So that's the edge of the battlefield. So I was previous game playing on that one, and now I'm here. So this is not the edge. This is just the edge. It's 3 4x4s stuck together, so the battlefield is here, right? Obviously. Anyway, let's take a look at the terrain. So there was 2 height 2 hills, and you'll notice one of them was in a deployment zone. Not a big fan of that, but obviously I'm a big fan of it in that game because you'll see what I put on them. 2 height 4 forests. There is 2 height 4 pieces of blocking terrain and 2 walls. So less terrain than I'm used to at this tournament so far. Quite light on terrain, but the pieces of terrain are huge. 2 big hills, 2 big forests, and 2 big blocking terrain, which is probably why there's less. Right, so only 2 walls. And this is how it was laid out. So Rich won the roll for side, and he chose that side, so we actually moved around. And I was looking at thinking, that's great for me. I'm going to stick some claw shots on a hill. That's what I'm going to do. So the scenario was control. Which is the one where you've got 6 segmented parts, which I've handily drawn for you on this slightly isometric view to show you roughly where I think they are. So you control the 6 segments of the board, and your deployment zone is worth 2. Everything else is worth 1. I think I have an advantage here, slightly. So Ogres, everything scores, even their characters score. They've got no individuals. So he can just jump little sniff units or scout units into various quarters, but I've just got so much stuff. I kind of think it gives me the advantage here. Let's look at deployment. So, whoop, sorry, blurry photo from left to right. So he put his sniffs right out there on the left, and one of the regiments of chariots. I can't remember whether, I think this was the headstrong one. And then that's the warlord at the back. You notice his chariots are actually, they're space wolves. So he's got loads of space wolves just like not mounted on stuff. But I think they look really cool. There's the colossal giant hanging off his base. That's Grokogomok's finest. Oh no, it's not. Yes, it is. Those are the braves. So right, sorry, this unit here are the finest braves. Next to them, so this is Nomagorok behind them. This is the standard bearer with the diadem. These, I believe, are the elite. Oh no, hang on. Yeah. That's right. So there's the first boomer unit, right? So he got 3 hordes all next to each other. So the finest braves are over there. These, I believe, are the elite boomers, and these are the firewall boomers. That's the standard bearer. I said that already. Over here, he's got his other regiment chariots with the other sniffs. It's not sniffs; they're just scouts. Other scouts behind them. That was his deployment. So onto mine. So against the chariots, the sniffs, and all his boomers, I have unsurprisingly put my blight because they're stealthy. There's the warlock. So I'm hoping to use the warlock to lightning bolt off the scouts. There's a unit of slaves in front of them to soak up some fire before they get there. And I've got one of my claw shots here. Now this wasn't by choice. You'll see when it gets to I couldn't fit all 3 on the hill. So rather than put them not on a hill, I just put them here because I thought, well, I can use them to help with the scouts, right? And then on the other side, so the blocking terrain is here. So the other side of this big piece of blocking terrain, which is probably why he chose that side of the board, because he didn't want his army to be split up, seems sensible. So I've got my horde of slaves at the front, and as usual, I've got my kind of breath attack units here. So that's the diadem, standard bearer. Those are weapon teams. These are the Pathfinder shock troops, and the idea here is I want them to get into that wood that's just there. Yeah. Next to them is the headstrong shock troops with the other, there they are, with the other regiment of slaves. This is the edge of the hill here, so you can see I couldn't quite fit all 3 on, not properly. So I've got what are they called? Claw shot, and right on the right hand side, deployed on top of my army list. This is the edge of the battlefield. The demon spawn, right? So if you remember his side of this battlefield, over here, he's got his finest brave, so that's what I want my shock troops to get into. After everything is shot off his giant, and right over here, he's just got sniffs and a chariot regiment. So I want the sniffs to get lightning bolt and shot off, and then I can deal with the chariot regiment and everything else. So I'm feeling okay about this deployment. So he won turn 1, and or did I won turn 1 give it to? I think I won turn 1, and I said you go first because I want him to move up because he can't shoot me. He's not got enough long range. I want him to move into range so that I can then shoot him. I think. So anyway, the chariots moved up like this. The sniffs moved up to screen. Whoops. And these guys moved into the woods. Trees immediately removed. Oh, slightly better. Yeah, there's a slightly better screenshot. Well done, me. This kind of wall of death just moved forward. So that's the braves here. And then these are the 2 boomers with the diadem guy. His giant I think this is before moving his giant. So his giant did move up as far as he could. And then the regiment with the chariot lord behind them. So he's rally 2'd, which is good because they need that nerve. And the sniffs moved like this, right? Because they can charge 20, so he just needs them to be able to see my demon, which I think is sensible. There you go. So that's oh, this is my go. So then in my go, I moved the demon up and I lightning bolted here. And the claw shot into these chariots. So I lightning bolted 2 points damage because the claw shots couldn't see them. The 2 claw shots went into these guys, 3 points of damage, which is not going to be enough. And then my other claw shot and the lightning bolt from my warlock did 6 points of damage onto this unit of sniffs, which theoretically should be well enough to get them off. We can see here, just out of shot. Well, we should enough to get them off. I wavered them, so I rolled a 3, which is rubbish. So what you can see is that I've moved my. Sorry, I didn't take a photo of the movement. I moved my slaves as far forward as possible. I just moved them 12 with the blight kind of behind them. So the blight are behind the hill because I can see them because the chariots because they're height 3. So I want him to charge his chariots into my slaves so I can then counter charge with the blight. Let's see if he does on turn 2. So what I didn't say was that I did 2 points of damage to these sniffs, but I didn't roll the 7 I needed to waver them That's rubbish and not great, because now he can quite easily, with a single turn, charge into my demon. If he does 1 point of damage, then I've got Chariot and a Warlord. So not the best start, not the best start for the rats, fair to say. So 1 Sniffs wavered, so that on his turn 2, obviously he took that charge, because why would you not? He decided not to charge. It's a shame, didn't take the bow. You can see what I did with this. So I moved them so they were on the hill, actually. They're not off the hill, they're on the hill. He didn't take, so he moved his chariots backwards a little bit, because he moved 1 unit of boomers over and the standard bearer, which seems a much better idea than my little trap, but definitely didn't work, because now he can just shoot them, which isn't great for me. So the brave, so the other ones, so these are the other boomers which have just moved up to be ready to face things. The finest braves also moved up, and the giant took the charge into my horde of slaves, which I towed into the woods here. I'm okay with that, because I don't, even though he's got Strider, I don't think he can take them off in a single turn, unless he rolls like a boss. And Richard did say that he had been rolling insane the whole tournament. The giant had just been the MVP of his whole army. So the base here is where he actually is. He just he was going to fall over. They're really top heavy, these guys, so he didn't want him to fall off. The other chariots took the hindered charge I'd offered him onto these slaves. So I moved these slaves up with the shock troops behind, and he figured he could take them. So he's just done that hindered charge, and he's got the warlord here facing that way, because once my demons kill the sniffs, he wants the warlord to then start picking him up, I believe. So yeah, so a very strong turn 2. Let's see how we went out. So this is where the slaves were, about here. So they are dead. Let's draw a little skull. Dead slaves. Anyway, unsurprising. However, the giant did roll pretty bloody well. So 10 wounds onto my slaves, and he wavered them, which is the last thing that I want, because there is a bloody great big building over here, which means that with wavered unit here, I can't get the shock troops in. They're stuck. Even though I've done proper checkerboard deployment, I can't get them in. Bad. However, these chariots bounced. So hindered 12 attacks, something like that, over a wall, just not enough, especially rally. So we've got rally here. We've got inspiring from this guy. Yeah, he didn't manage to get them, so he's bounced. That's really bad. Not great. And the sniffs, unfortunately, managed 2 wounds against my demon, which grounds him. So he's not in a great place. So onto my turn 2. So what I did is I took, obviously the demon went back in here, and I multi-charged. So I could fit this unit of shock troops. These are the headstrong shock troops, and the slaves on a counter charge into these chariots. So that's going to be good. There you go. There's a fuller view on that counter charge. And despite my slaves being wavered, what I've got is I've got 1, 2 claw shots and 3 breath engines plus a diadem, all of whom can shoot the giant. So I'm pretty happy about that. Actually, that's I'm okay with that. It's just that you can see the building there. This is not great. That's bad planning, because I've got this kind of wall of death approaching here, and if I can't get these slaves out of the way, these guys are, you can happily fit Grokka-Gamok's dudes in there, which you don't like. Not having the option, I can't reach these guys, they're out of range. I can't get into these guys because they're out of range. So I have to take the blight into the sniffs. Into the scouts. I will wipe them out, but then I can turn. He can potentially then double charge me with that and with that. However, into ensnare, not so sure. He can also shoot me with that and with that, but again, it is stealthy, and they are completely unwounded, and they're inspired. So I think that's all right. I think it's okay. We'll see. And then the claw shot that's over here, that's down there somewhere, has shot the standard bearer for 2 damage, but I don't manage to roll the 11 or whatever it is to kill him or to waver him or anything like that, so he's feeling good. That is all right. There's no deleted yet. Oh my god, I killed something. No, that's just 10 wounds. The giant is down here. It's 10 wounds onto the giant from all of my shooting, which is pretty good. Not good enough to get the roll that I would have needed. And obviously we killed the sniffs. They're not sniffs, they're scouts, but obviously we killed the scouts. So that was my turn, and then I turned to face. and my double charge did kill the chariot. So this is great news for me, because if his giant doesn't kill my slaves, if he doesn't do anything with this chariot dude, we're going to get a flank on this giant here, which nobody wants from shock troops. So I think that's pretty good. So chariots, kapow, one down. And obviously we killed the scouts here, and we just, I think I just stayed where I was because I'm out of a line of sight from a flank charge here. And I'm just either going to take a double charge or all the breath, and we'll just have to see how it goes. Oh, it's mid. Oh, turn 3, mid measurement, turn 3. How exciting! So turn 3. Right. So oh look, why have I flown over there? Oh no, I haven't. Right. So this is the edge of the board. Remember that. So rather than charge into the demon, and I see why he's done this. Right. Rather than charge into the demon, he's charged into a claw shot, because the thought is he should be able, with his warlord, to easily kill a claw shot and then turn or overrun. Because if he turns, he end up kind of like this after the bounce, right? We can see we've got the line of sight here, so the demon can't see him. So actually, he's very threatening at that point. He's threatening a whole load of flanks with his warlord. So I completely see why he's done that. I'd have been probably tempted just to occupy the demon wall, but yeah, no, I get it, because actually claw shots are horrible. So that's probably why. Counter charge? Oh, no, counter charge, just a fresh charge with his giant. So he really needs to kill this, so that he cannot get flanked. Although he's going to get reared. So this is not a great place for his giant to be, because once this unit dies, once this one dies, I've got these guys and I've got these guys. So his giant basically is a dead giant walking, I guess. But he has got, you can see here, the 12. He has got Grokugamok's guys there. So whoever charges there is going to take Grokugamok's finest braves. And that's not fun for anyone. There they are. So they've moved up. That's the charge radius of my shock troops. So he's got everything nicely there. This is Nom doing some mischief. And he's turned his other boomers here. So what you've got is double boomers. So you've got one boomer here, boomer sergeant here, right? So they're all facing the blight. So he's chosen to shoot the hell out of me rather than take the double charge, which, yeah, okay, I think that's probably wise. And then he moves his chariots up here, so he's ready to flankety flank. He puts 10 points of damage onto the blight with all of those attacks. And the only thing I can charge is the standard bearer. So I think that was a really solid move. So he's given up his standard bearer because he knows that when I kill them and bounce, I'm going to either get flanked or whatever. It's going to be nasty for everyone, especially me. This is the best news. His warlord bounced. Like shocking rolling from the warlord. 4 points of damage and a terrible roll. I don't think that's... It might be 6. What do you think? Let's scroll back a bit. I think he might have just been in 6th there. For luck rather than judgment on my part. It does mean they're up to a 10-12. So he couldn't roll the 8 that he needed off that 4 points of damage to kill those claw shots. That is terrible news for that warlord, because no one wants that, all right? No one wants a flank from a demon. Yeah, hello, how are you doing? So this is my turn 3. Obviously I took that charge. The demon is actually here, but obviously it doesn't sit on the hill very well. Hello, little chap, how you doing there? At this point, this slave unit's feeling quite good. There's nobody to attack them, nobody to do anything to them. So we're just wandering off of this way. So I'm just going to get them behind this building over here and sit there in the invade zone. So the giant bounced. So I oh yeah, the giant, right? Yeah. So he came in. They went from 10 to, let's see, this is 14. He only did 4 points of damage. His giant rolling like a god phase ended rather unfortunately. So he wavered these slaves again because they were rallied too. So they were up to a 21-23, and with 14 points of damage, he couldn't roll enough. He rolled poor on the nerve check because they were inspired from this chap here, and double rallied. So wavered again. So took the headstrong shock troops into the flank. So I am hindered, but it is 50 attacks on 5s. And he's already got 10 damage from all of these bad boys, so that's not good for him. However, I am still stuck. I am still stuck behind my own bloody unit. And these guys are coming in like a muscle truck, so not that great. He is, however, having to use all of his troops here against one horde of blight. He's got a chariot reg and 2 hordes of boomers against one horde of blight. Whereas I've now got 2 hordes of killy shock troops against one killy horde. Because the giant's most likely going to die. I like those odds at the moment. So what's this to show? Oh, that's me. Right, that's me going into the fella, standard bearer. And we obviously kill the warlord, which is great. And we kill the giant, so we do an extra, what was that, 12, 16, extra, only 6 points of damage, right? So that's not great on 10. 50 attacks on 5s. I think 6 is with 5s and 5s. Because I couldn't get a Bane Chant off because the Warlock's all the way at the side. So 6 is pretty good, I think, for that. It's kind of what you expect. With Elite and Vicious, maybe there or thereabouts. But it was enough for me to roll the 4 to kill him. So the giant is dead. And I overrun. And I overrun way more than I wanted to. Don't forget, I was here. And I rolled like a 4. Which unfortunately puts me well within the charge arc of the finest Braves. They will be hindered, but they hit on 3s. 30 attacks on 4s with crush like a zillion. 4s and 2s. Don't like. And we obviously kill the standard bearer. And then we turn. So how are these guys going to do? Oh, I think he chucked the chariots down here, maybe. Not sure. Yeah, I think he did. Which was kind of a mistake because it means that I'm now presenting a double front. But, you know, they're as good at shooting as they are at charging. I'm already on 10 points of damage. I'm at dash 21. Not looking great for the blight. Yeah, so he moved them down here because what he wanted to do was to come in and take out my claw shots. Don't like it. Turn 4 then for the noble mighty ogres. So understandably, he takes the finest braves. So there's 2 points of damage there, which I think was from, this weapon team possibly had a shot. So that weapon team shot them for 2. Might be in the claw shots. No, they weren't in the woods, so no, yeah, right, fine. So he took them into the front of my shock troops. Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, no, because at the end of so at the end of his turn 3, the chariots were here. So on this turn, he took the chariots around here. He didn't take the flank. Instead, he just chose to do the boomers. So sorry, it was a preemptive screenshot. And here's where it happens. Look at that. They were on 10. They went up to 18, 22 points of damage, which is above their nerve limit. That is a lot, even on 5s, guys. Wow. He double won it. He double won it. Yeah, baby. Very, very lucky for me. That is excellent news. Less good news on the other side because he did a colossal amount of damage from the finest braves. 16 points of damage off of their 30 attacks. Ouch. And utterly destroyed my shock troops who are no longer there. And he reformed like so, which is what you do. That's right, he got Bane Chant off, which helped. Yeah, there it is. Look, I've even put a helpful Bane Chant token. However, I am going to be able to move these guys out the way and charge in with these guys with Caterpillar. So we'll see how that goes. I had nobody left to shoot on my turn 4 because, you know, I couldn't see anyone anymore. So my slaves have moved up here. They're really safe now. So that's yay, 2 unit strength. So I just moved my claw shots up and turned them both. So I didn't shoot this turn. I moved them to be ready to shoot across into the woods next turn, just in case this doesn't go well. So the slave horde moved like yay. The demon moved like yay, because I want to use his lightning bolt and to be ready to jump in over here. And I moved all 3 of my kind of killer death battery guys up here. So not having like plinky shooting in your list is bad when you're facing stuff like this. I think, you know, you can get sniff troops. I don't think they're any difference in price to the scout troops. I think they're better, if I'm honest, because you can do plinky shooting onto annoying war machines. And then I took obviously the shock troops into the finest braves. Hope to repeat what he did to my guys to his guys. Let's see, they are undamaged. And in the world's luckiest side, so I moved the warlock out of the way of the line of sight here. The can't believe they're still alive blight went into these. It was a hindered charge no matter what I did. So, and I know, don't think it was hindered into these guys, right? But I've got weapon team, warlock, claw shots. They're on 2 damage. I think I can get quite a bit onto them. So I took the hindered charge because I figured the blight are dead anyway. So we might as well just kind of occupy this unit while we can. And best news of the game, so my luck rolling like crazy, 6 points of damage on them. And then I, let's see, that took them up to 8, and they're 15, 17. I wavered them. Amazing, amazing news. Even better, the blight rolled incredible 30 attacks on 5s. I killed them in a single go. So I got crush 1 on them. So 5s and 3s, I killed them in a single go. This whole flank, special guest appearance for my finger there. This whole flank is utterly collapsing. So he's got wavered boomers, dead boomers. He's still got chariot regiment, but that chariot regiment can really only go into my claw shots. Less good news on the other side, so I do 10 wounds to the finest braves. They are a dash 18, I want to say. Didn't roll the 8 to kill them. Yep, so on his go, he is this turn 5? Have I missed the turn mark? I have missed a turn mark. I'm so sorry. Let's just imagine it here. Turn 5. Wop, wop, wop. So turn 5, he just turns the boomers because what can you do? I'm now facing this way. Yep. He takes a counter charge into my shock troops with his finest braves and moves Nom up. I assume to Bane chant them. The chariot regiment obviously goes into the claw shots. Oh, there you go. There's the turn dice. I did do it. Slightly out of turn. I think I planned to take it. I'll just pop the screenshot into the right place. Forgot. Anyway, killed the claw shots, turned the chariots around, killed the shock troops, and turned his finest braves around. So although it's not looking great, he is picking up my units at this point. I mean, he's facing the back of this slave horde. However, there's a demon here. Now that was kind of a mistake, wasn't it? So actually my blight were over here. I don't know where they are in this screenshot. So he turned the boomers around to face them that way. But that means he's going to get flanked by a demon. Right? Similarly, he's turned them like that. Seems like a crazy way to turn them. Because that's a flank as well. Weird. Is that what I did? What did I do? How exciting. Where did the demon go? Where was the demon before? This is the high quality you expect from my battle reports, I know. Well, I can't even remember what I did in a game that's no less than a week ago. Right, the demon was here. Right. So he killed my shock troops and he turned them to face the demon because he did not want to be killed in the flank. That seems much more sensible. So he's turned these guys around like this. I think that's more than 20 possibly. They didn't take the charge. So I killed them. I turned to face this way. He's turned them to face that way, although they're wavered, so they're now facing this way, right? Good. We know where we're at now. So they died. There's the turn dice. So you turn back like this. They turn like this because the demon was here. So then in my turn 5, I moved these guys over here, saying, yeah, flank my slaves if you want, because I moved the demon up here to lightning bolt down here. That's why, because I've got my... Right, so I positioned all my shooting. I thought, well, it's a naughty word, fuck it. I've got 2 claw shots here and there, facing here, right? They're on 10 damage already, and I've got a battery of 1, 2, 3, 4 breath attacks. So I've turned them all, so I've got all my shooting. So I've got a lightning bolt here, a lightning bolt here, 1, 2, 3, 4 breath attacks, and 2 claw shots. the claw shots have to shoot these guys. They can't see anybody else, but everyone else can choose what I shoot off. Yes, that's just showing you where those are positioned. And then I take the blight into the flank. So this was a mistake, unfortunately. He didn't see, or he didn't measure that I was just within 12. I was just within 12. And even worse, in the flank. So I took that opportunity, apologising profusely, but not going to not do that. And you can see the accumulated damage, right? So Nomagrot got 4 damage on him, and he was wavered. The Finest Braves got just loads. What's that? 17. They were dash 18 and taken off. Yeah, and the Boomers went up to 20 damage with the rest of the shooting, and they were taken off too. And even worse, the Blight obliterated the Chariot Regiment. So turn 6, I didn't take a photo of the turn dice because he only had Nomagrok left at that point. Everything else had been killed. We went turn 6, and he just looked at me, tapped the clock, and said, "Just roll double 1." And I didn't roll a double 1 twice. So at the end of that game, it was a Ratkin victory, and I tabled him, which was, wait, I'm going to be honest, did feel a little bit good. I'd never tabled anyone in the competition before. It also felt really bad because I think he was pretty upset, and I'd have been upset too, frankly. That double 1 absolutely destroyed him. That double 1 from on the Blight meant that the Blight just rolled through 2 units, and the rest of my shooting, which was untouched, rolled through everything else. So that was a 19-1 victory. So that put me at 4-1 going into the final game. So I knew at that point pretty much everyone except Mario, who was the guy at the top of the table, had lost once. So I was going to face somebody else who was in a similar condition. Woo, how exciting. Let's go on to game 6. And so we are on to the final game of the tournament. And I was facing Abyssal Dwarfs. This is actually quite nice. So it's my second Spaniard, but this one was Sam Soden Garcia, who you may know if you frequent the Fanatics forum. And I spent quite a little bit of time chatting with Sam through the event, and I was just really delighted to find it was him. He's very friendly, very chatty, and he says that he's been playing the UK meta in Spain without realising it. So he's been suffering in Spain against their kind of quite skewed list, but he'd bought a reasonably balanced list. According to him anyway, but he's been doing very well through the tournament with this list. So let's take a look at his Abyssal Dwarfs. We have a horde of Black Souls with mutated Throwing Mastiffs and the Brew of Strength. We have 2 Regiments of Decimators, so these are the breath attack dudes. An Overmaster with the Wings of Honey Maze. This is like a mini Basusu. This guy is defense 6, right? He's not to be sniffed at. And those 2 form the formation, which is Heralds of the Black Flame, which give the Decimators Crushing Strength 1, I think, and some speed or something. Anyway. We have a Horde of Slave Orcs with the Staying Stone. A Troop of Gargoyles, because you've got to have a Troop of Gargoyles. A Regiment of Abyssal Half-Breeds with the Caterpillar Potion. A Horde of Abyssal Grotesques with the Brew of Haste. 2 Katsu-chan rocket launchers, 2 slave drivers, 1 with the Banner of the Griffin, 1 with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness, and of course Basusu the Vile. So I think this list is pretty good. I like it. It's not your usual kind of Abyssal Dwarf. Here's some golems. Here's some golems. Here's some golems kind of list. I think it's pretty nice to see that. I think probably the only thing that I'm kind of like about is the Abyssal Half-Breeds, which I just think underwhelm whenever I've seen them. But apart from that, it's pretty solid. And clearly it's solid because he's been doing very well with it. So he's got 2 flyers, both of which are nasty and individual and can cause some havoc. He's got some breath attacks. He's got 2 rocket launchers to keep putting damage on me. All right, so apologies for the portrait battlefield shot, but we were moved off our table at the last minute, and there wasn't a lot of room on my side of the table. Which is the left as we look at it. I don't think I chose that. I think Sam chose it. And as we didn't have a lot of room where we were, nowhere to put our army, so it's just crap all over the table. So very briefly, the terrain was a height 2 hill right up there, 2 height 4 forests, 3 height 4 buildings, and 2 walls. So again, not a lot of terrain on this building, but the terrain that we did have was pretty massive. That's a huge piece of blocking terrain right in the middle of the army, in the middle of the battlefield, which makes it quite tough to move stuff around if you're moving hordes, which we both were. So, this gap here is not sufficient to get a horde through, I think. So pretty much we're going to be playing the battlefield in this alleyway and in this alleyway. Yeah. So the scenario was push with 3 tokens each. Sam chose sides, and he also chose to take first turn. So we will look at deployment, but I forgot to take photographs at the beginning of deployment. So this is part way through his turn 1. So I shall attempt, with the magic of words and a laser pointer, show you where his units were at the start, and you'll get the idea. So the gargoyles obviously started back there, and the slave orcs started back here, right? So these are slave orcs here, right? Gargoyles are obviously gargoyles. These are his grotesques, the abyssal grotesques, and they started back here. And this isn't actually what he did. He moved these. He changed this after this screenshot. This is the first unit of decimators, which was here. So he started. They were just like that, facing this way. So they both started like that. And you can see he's given them 2 loot tokens. Okay, so 2 of his push tokens are on the abyssal decimators. And then on the other side, so these are the half-breeds with Pathfinder. So they started obviously all the way back there. This guy is one of the, what are they called? Whip guys. Anyway, but he's the one with the loot, I believe. This is his horde of black souls, which obviously started back here. Or just 4 back, so there, because then he moved 4. This is the guy with, I believe, with the banner. That's just a more pup. Oh, not more pup. Ha! What's it called? The thing you throw, the dog you throw. This is his other unit of decimators. And then around the corner, there he is. This is the overmaster with the wings. So he started there and obviously came up here. But we'll look at his turn shortly because this is turn 1. So facing off against this lot, which is the gargoyles, the slave orcs. Oh, there's Basusu. Sorry, I forgot to mention him. The slave orcs, the gargoyles, Basusu, and both of these units, the grotesques and his 2 tokens. So his 3rd token was, I'm going to say it's on this unit, I think. Maybe it was 2 tokens each. I think it's on this unit though, if I'm being honest. I can't see it. Can you see it? To be fair, I don't know why I'm asking you, because A, you can't tell me, and B, I was the one that actually played the game. So this does seem a little bit disingenuous, me actually asking you, but hey, maybe it was 2 tokens each. I guess we'll find out. Oh no, there you go. Right, yeah. So look, the slave orcs have got one here. So he's put all of his tokens on this side of the battlefield, right? Which is pretty interesting, because a lot of his other units are over here. So he's put his slave orcs with 1, because I guess he figures they're just going to stick around. He's got, this is his most hizzy unit, the grotesque. He's got one of his breath attacks with the other 2, but he's got Basusu and the gargoyles here. Okay. So against all 3 of his tokens, I've got my demon hiding behind a wood. I've got, this is the Pathfinder shock troops. I've got a slave regiment and a warlock. And that's all I've given that side. Oh, and a slave regiment. So the slave regiment is just on the other side there here. But this is my deployment, right? And then with my tokens, right on the other side of the battlefield, so don't forget the big blocking terrain is kind of there-ish, just down there. So this is the banner with the diadem, the 3 weapon teams behind a regiment. This is the headstrong shock troops who have got 2 of my 3 tokens. And then I've got 1, 2, 3 claw shots, and right on the other side of the battlefield, my horde of blight with my other token. So it's pretty interesting, really. If you go back to the actual this shot, let's take all that off. He's got his tokens on a unit here and a horde of slaves here. I've got my tokens on a horde of shock troops here and a horde of blight here, right? And he's got his black souls and all that kind of stuff here, right? So we're actually pushing. I'm pushing this way, and he's pushing this way. It's kind of making it very interesting, unbalanced. We both need, whoever wins both of these face-offs potentially could actually just win the battle, right? So So this is how he actually ended up. So the left-hand side is as it was. So he moved them forward. Oh, there's his rocket launchers at the back. Sorry, I forgot to mention those. 2 rocket launchers right at the back. I thought it was an interesting placement because there wasn't really a great place for them to go because they've got the hill here, blocking terrain here, but he chose to put them there, I think because he could see my demon. He was hoping to just rocket my demon off the entire time. But I'd stuck it behind a wood to start with because I'm not a fool. So the decimators moved up here and he moved the grotesque to be behind them in a supporting position. I actually think where he had them to start with here was better, if I'm honest. But he's done that, I think, just to hope that if they die, they can come and pick them up, right? And then, as previously, everything moved. So as it was in the previous. Whoa! Stop doing that. So in the previous, so he's moved these guys forward, and these guys are in a nice kind of like wave of death here. This is the other loot token, right? So in push, you have another loot token in the middle of the battlefield, but obviously that would be there. So it has to be 3 inches from blocking terrain. So it's here, which is very well. I suppose yeah, it makes sense for him. So all my tokens are down here, right? And he's got quite a lot of killy stuff here. So if he can grab that one as well, he could potentially get 4 or at least one of them off me. Yeah. Overmaster. Right. So where were we? So onto my turn. So he moved up. Nothing he could do shooting wise. I think he shot the war engines at my slave horde. There you go. Yeah. And he did 5 points of damage. So it's a reasonable start from the dude to start with. That was when they were back here. Right. So then my turn. I've moved up. So the demon is now touching into the woods. I've moved my caterpillar shock troops here because if he wants to charge either the gargoyles or Basusu into my demon, that's absolutely fine because then I can take them off with the shock troops who've got caterpillar. Slaves are just blanking here, and my other slave horde is here. So I'm interested in his token on the slave orcs. If I can get that onto the shock troops, that's fine. These guys, I just want to soak up as much damage as possible. So when I've dealt with this, I can then come across. That was my plan, like it or not. On this side, my Horde of Blight with a token are really only facing their Overmaster. Now, he is defense 6 and he's got a decent nerve, but I think in a face-off, I can probably win this. What I'm hoping, I've shoved them up 12, right, which is as far as they can go this unit. I'm hoping his Overmaster will ignore them and fly over to try and deal with my claw shots, in which case I've got free reign to just kind of whiz around here as much as I like. And we'll see if he does that. So there's a nice battlefield shot of where we end up. So I didn't move the shock troops, but I moved the slaves up and all the weapon teams behind them. And because this is a giant killing field here. And what I want to do is for him to spend as much time as possible crossing it because he's speed 4 apart from these guys, right? So these guys are really slow. I want him to spend as much time because I'm going to be shooting all of this. And I think that's enough to take off all of that. But first turn, I'm going to be shooting these guys who are handily completely open to me. Yes, I've already shown you that. Well done, me. I can show you for a second time. It's very exciting. A slightly nicer photo. So that is the Warlock lightning bolting here, and I put 3 points of damage onto his decimators. The Demon, who is here, lightning bolts the gargoyles, and we put 2 points of damage onto them. However, the claw shots, once again proving their absolute value, put 7 points of damage onto these abyssal half-breeds, which is fantastic. Well done them. Shooting on 4s, of course. By the way, you know that I always say use dice for wounds. Love this. Love writing on pieces of paper. They're kind of, it's like flip chart kind of marker, but it rubs off like a whiteboard marker. So he rubs off so he can do his damage. So the 2 points of damage on the gargoyles, I waver them, which is fab. Well done me. So that's a good start to the game. So on to turn 2. So he turns his decimators to come around here because he's realised I can just sneak past, right? So he's going to try and hold me up with this guy who charges. Oh, does he not? I think he just sits there. Yeah, I think he just sits there. He doesn't bother. Maybe he does. I don't remember. We'll have a look. But anyway, he's hoping to then just shoot me off. But they're stealthy, so that's not going to work. And then the, whatever they're called, the Black Souls move forward and then grab the token, right? And he regens or heals, heals. Do they have heal? Regen? Anyway, their damage goes down 3. So whatever they did, well done. This is the Overmaster just kind of keeping them company or inspiring them. And then he takes he backs up with these guys a little bit, which are yeah, I'm not wild about, but he did it, so there you go. And then he regens 1 wound, and he just moves this kind of units guys forward with Basusu behind them. He just kind of shoves them forward 5 because they're fairly robust, aren't they? Slave orcs. So he regens 1 of the wounds of the gargoyles, who are buggered. However, then the breath attack, so he moves them to just, I know what he moves them to just out of 12. I think just out of 12, possibly. Yeah. And the rocket launchers hit like Billio. So with the breath attack and the rocket launchers, he puts 11 more points of damage, taking it up to 12. No, they were on 5 before, weren't they? 6.7 points of damage. Well, wow, maths. Anyway, he puts 7 points of damage, takes them up to 12, and wavers them, which is annoying, but happens every game, so can't do anything about that. And this is a great shot, isn't it? Isn't that brilliant? So he did charge in with the overmaster. I've taken a photo to show you how much damage it is. Can you see how much damage it is? I think it's 2. It might be 4. Who knows? A little bit of damage, not enough for them to be caring about. So then on my turn, since he didn't take the bait of charging my demon, I have moved the shock troops round here and put the demon behind them. So he can't touch my demon, and he can just carry on lightning bolting those gargoyles and having lots of fun. However, so this was, a mistake, which is fair, happens. So he'd moved these guys, so they were just within 12 of these guys, but he hadn't checked the charge distance across the building. So my other slave regiment was here, right? Actually, it was here because I moved these guys back 3, and then this to the corner was just 12. So I risked a yellow belly, and I got a charge off. So the slaves have now gone into that unit, really just to stop them shooting, which is exactly, that's the best possible hope I could get. So as long as I do 1 wound, then I'm good. Even better on this side of the battlefield. So don't forget, my slave regiment was here. So he'd moved the horde in like this, and turned it, and hadn't measured, and that was again within 12. So I got a flank charge, no yellow belly needed, from this regiment of slaves onto his black cells. Now they're not going to do much damage, but again, I'm holding them up for a turn and blocking these guys in. So that was pretty lucky. I don't think, it wasn't deliberate, but I think after 2 quite intense days, everyone was pretty tired, so these kind of mistakes start to slip in. So I moved those. I moved my shock troops up to then take advantage. So they're within 12, but out of 8, right? So he can't charge me. And my weapon teams are all here, so we can now shoot. Oh, I think one of them can shoot. So the front one and the diadem can get some shots onto this unit with cover. And yet, charge back in with the blight into these overmaster to see what I can do. Oh, look, there you go. It was 4 wounds. Oh, it all comes clean in the end. So demon does lightning bolt onto the gargoyles, 2 more points of damage, and wavers them again. So not managing to kill them, but they're wavered, so whatever. We bane chanted them slaves with the warlock into these decimators, and all of the shooting onto the epistle half-breeds. So 3 weapon teams and 1 weapon team, 1 diadem, and 3 claw shots puts them up to 13. So again, another great round of rolling. And it's not looking pretty for that unit. In fact, they are dead, even with inspiring from this chap. So that's 1 unit out of the way. So we do 3 points of damage, I think, onto these, or 4 points of damage from the slaves with my Bane chant. So that's great. They can't shoot. Obviously, these slaves are absolutely mullered next turn, but hey, they did their job. Whereas the flank charge from the other slaves into the Black Souls did 1 point of damage, which is not great. But it doesn't mean they can't use their little mutated throwing mastiff. So hey, whatever. And we do 5 points of damage onto the Overmaster, not enough to do anything exciting though. But I think that's more than he expected. There is still the opportunity, because he's an individual, he can turn and charge that away into other units that are more interesting, but I think he's very interested in holding them up for as long as possible. So, on to turn 3. So, turn 3, he stops hanging around with Basusu, because that's not helping. Whereas my demon's not going to come out and play, so Basusu kind of chucks himself down here and turns, ready to do unpleasant things to me. And the slave orcs move up as far as they can, so they just hit the edge of the forest, because they can't, they're out of charge range. He backs up the, what are they called? Gargoyles. and regens 2 points of their damage. And he charges back in. So this again, I think, was another slight error, if I'm allowed to call them that. So he's charged in here. He's countercharged with the whatever they're called. God almighty! I literally said it like 3 minutes ago. It'll come decimators. Hey, but he moves up the despoilers right behind them, and by doing that, he's actually blocked himself in a little bit. I would have been tempted to shuffle sideways. They've got a decent move, so they can shuffle 4 sideways, and then they're all ready to kind of pile on down here. Anyway, this chap moves over, so maybe he's got a diadem or something. Anyway, but the point is that he's within 6. I think that's why I've done that, to show that he's within 6 of all of that. So the war machines, because they can only see this unit of slaves, just keep piling on little rockets onto them. So unfortunately, they are now up to 15 points of damage, but only wavered again, which is lucky. They're a 20-22 because of the horde here, inspired. So 15 points of damage on them, still around. And the Overmaster is absolutely piling on the damage. So they go from 4 to 8. So another 4 points of damage. But again, they're still okay because they're -21, fearless. Here's my thumb. Sorry about that. Anyway, this just show you that the slaves got decimated. It's him. Anyway. And as did these slaves. So he countercharged the slaves here with the Black Souls and then reformed like this. I didn't even bother taking further damage because it was so absolutely appalling. And he blew them to Kingdom Come, but he's going to get shock trooped next turn. So this was a stroke of luck. How did I do it? How did I do it? So that's 2 points of damage onto these decimators that are waiting around this building for my thing to come up. It must have been a claw shot. It must have been a claw shot. I think the only thing I've got, I'm not taking photographs of the claw shots for a while. I'm just kind of skipping back to see if I can find a wide shot. Right. Yeah. So they were obviously poking here, which means claw shot. Right? So I got one claw shot onto them, and wavered them with a 6/6, which, let me tell you, was great rolling. And that is, do you know what? I don't know anymore. 1 point of damage onto them. Why? I've lost track of time somewhat. Must have been lightning bolt. So I'm not quite sure why I've lightning bolted them, but I have. Oh, I know it was. No, this was the other claw shot, right? So sorry about this. So the other claw shot had a really sneaky line of sight just down here. We managed, with cover, to do 1 point of damage to them. So that's what that was, right? However, again, so this was the most extraordinary thing. So the shock troops charged in, Bane chanted, right, from the Warlock. And we 6'd it twice. So I 6'd that unit to waver them, and I 6'd this unit and killed them, which was unbelievably. You see, it was 12 wounds, right? And I 6'd, so another 12 to 24, and there was no inspiring. This guy's out, and the other guy was out. So just lucky rolling to the max. 2 6s in the same turn. But that has turned the battlefield quite unpleasantly to my advantage, because this unit now has 3 loot tokens. And I'm just free as a bird to go over here, because all of his hitty stuff's now over there. The only units that are any good is the decimators there, and they're wavered because I've killed his Overmaster. So at this point, we're in turn 3. All his hitty stuff's over here. He's got 3 tokens, because he's got his slave orcs, but the slave orcs are getting charged by the shock troops. Yeah, looking good, right? By the way, the shock troops that then killed them. So I charged the shock troops into the slave orcs and the demon into the slave orcs, so a double charge, and killed them and took their token. So now, oh no, that's right. Yeah. So last turn, before he moved the double, he dropped his token up there. So I don't have his token, but the token is kind of lingering up here. So he wants to get his half, whatever they're called, grotesque over here to pick it up, right? So yeah, I rolled really well the whole turn. Slave Orc's gone. Basusu's still hanging around there. Basusu can't charge my demon because I've countercharged. I've double charged here and the side is blocked. So the only thing he can do is charge my shock troops or into this slave regiment. Oh, he can't charge the slave regiment. In fact, even better than that, I backed up the demon. So I move forward with the shock troops and back with the demon. So the demon's behind the forest. Yeah, I remember now. So the only thing available to him to charge is the shock troops because Basusu is down there somewhere. So, turn 4. Things are looking not great for the Abyssal Dwarves. So doing pretty much all he can. The finally unwavered Gargoyles and Basusu charge into my shock troops. These guys, so he drops the tokens with the decimators and then moves the half-breeds on the grotesques on top of them because these guys are for the chop and these guys are pretty much, it's only a unit left. He then fires the decimators at my demon and does 6 points of damage. So the Basusu in the rear and Gargoyles in the front does 7 points of damage to these shock troops, but they're okay because they've got Rally 2 from this bad boy. We then, on my turn, countercharge into the Gargoyles, who are going to get exploded, and then we double charge. So the demon, not double charge, the demon charges into the Abyssal Grotesques. And then my slave regiment, slave horde, which is finally unwavered, even with its 15 damage, passes the yellow belly and goes into the decimators. So I rolled the yellow belly first. If I'd have failed it, I could have taken the demon into the decimators, but then the demon would have got killed by the grotesque. So there you go. Over this side, there wasn't anything left to kill apart from these decimators. So I moved the shock troops up here, and I moved my kind of fire teams as far up as I could. And then because they had nothing to shoot, I started to move my claw shots up the battlefield so they could maybe find some targets. So I've got a shot, I think, from him onto the decimators. I think that's possibly, or one of them is within 12, possibly the front two. And then we've got a shot onto his Overmaster with the other one. Oh, yeah, I didn't need to. Yeah, so sorry. So it's just into the Overmaster with these two, that's right. Because I charged the Blight into the front of the decimators, which were wavered. There's a Warlock. What's he doing? Hanging around? Bane chanting? Oh, that's right, I failed a Bane chant. I was there, I failed the Bane chant. It's a nice screenshot. So the shooting from my weapon teams put 5 points onto the Overmaster, who is wavered. Didn't get to fire his little thing the entire game. Oh, no, he's the banner guy, maybe? I don't know. And we killed the Gargoyles. And then we chose to completely ignore Basusu and just move up onto the hill because I want to get the token that is over there. So the slaves killed the decimators, which is great. But the demon did 9 damage, which is whoa! So he already had 8. He already had 1 rather, didn't they? So they went up 8 points of damage from 13 attacks. Is pretty vile, and he wavered them, which is just unpleasant. What a piece of work, eh? So they were on 7. The Blight took them up to 9. But I don't think I killed them. I think they're okay. Actually, they are okay. I failed my nerve check. Turn 5. So the decimators, who are by now, pretty cross, it's fair to say, charged back into my Blight. And you can see they're up to 14 wounds, which is Dead Town. So he rolled well, finally, first time this game, and killed them off, which means he's got their token on the wrong side of the board, but, little pleasures. Basusu then charged across the battlefield into my demon and killed him as well. So took him up to, he was on 6, something like that. What was he on? Do we care? Can we see? Does it matter? I'm going back now. I've gone back so far. 7? Was it 7? 5? 6! Jesus. 6 points of damage. So Basusu, rolling out of the box, did 7 wounds. Have these guys got Fury? These guys might have Fury. I don't really know anymore. Anyway, the demon's dead. He's gone. And I've got a slave horde versus a horde of very, very nasty, very hitty cavalry. So then on my turn, I moved my remaining. So I moved my. There's still nothing to shoot with the claw shot, so I just moved them up into a position like this, so they've all got shot across the battlefield because I want to try and shoot the guys that have actually got tokens. And then the team of death moved in here because it's goodbye town for both of these units. And the shock troops moved up into this half. So the plan here is to turn them like yay and come across and get whatever's left over there with that token. Oh, here's a kind of a very dramatic action shot, isn't it? So I've moved my other shock troops up onto the hill, so I've picked up the token there. So I have got 2 hordes facing off against this horde here, and there's Basusu. So I think Basusu is just going into the slave unit to block them. Yep. So we charge. That's right. So because it's a rear charge, there's no yellow belly. So I charge into Basusu and do 3 points of damage and waver him. I waver him. Tell out my dice. Oh yeah, baby. Bane chanted, but hey, turn 6. So towards the end of the game now, it's looking like a pretty crushing victory to me because he does have 2 tokens here, but they're in the wrong half, and I've got 3 tokens on my shock troop unit in his half, so it's already a 6-2 unless he can do something spectacular. So Basusu, who does have Fury, right? Whatever. Anyway, he countercharged and killed my slave horde, which had lasted very well. It's pretty rare for anything slave-wise to last till turn 6, which allowed then the grotesques to come across. You can see them just at the top of the picture here, into this shock troop horde that has a token. So talking about spectacular things, they kill them in a single go. Absolutely muller them, which means he's now got 3 tokens. Don't forget, that's how many I've got, right? Plus, he overruns 5. So all the way from here, all the way up onto this hill. So if there's a turn 7, he can come down into my half and he will have 6 points. And I will have 6 points. However, on this side, yeah, we just blow everything. Blow everything to Kingdom Come. The shock troops move up. So if there is a turn 7, I can move here and get that, which means I will have 8 to 6. So no matter what happens. However, just to safeguard, remember the old claw shots that I moved into this position? Here's a funny thing. So these guys are charged into here, right? And then they overran, so they are fully on the hill. This is height 4. They are height 3. This is height 2. So on that hill, they're height 5. So all 3 claw shots can suddenly see them with cover. And we took 10 wounds onto them. I don't think they were on any wounds. They were on 9. Oh, they were on 9 wounds. So we did 1 wound to them, but wavered them. So any chance he had of getting into my half is just gone. Right? And that was the end. That was the end. So in the end of the day, it was there was no turn 7. So it was a 6-3 victory to me. Yeah, which took me to a 5 and a 1. So what we'll do is we'll cut to a slideshow of some of the armies which are on display, and I'll talk through my impressions of the tournament and the final placings. So first, my thoughts on the tournament. This is me with the Countercharger award, by the way. It's the most brassy American trophy they could find, just like Mr. Tim Smith, who is here in his natural habitat. And these are just some photos of the games. So I thought the tournament was excellent, like truly, truly excellent. I really, really enjoyed it. A massive undertaking to have so many players, but pretty well run. It ran pretty smoothly. It's ran to time, which I think was pretty cool. The venue is Element Games in Stockport. It's one of the biggest gaming venues in the UK. For anyone in the US, it's like a medium-sized game store, but it's got like 100 capacity tables at the back. I mean, if I had any criticisms, it's the fact that the toilets are just awful, like so bad. And I know I'm a precious kind of guy, but yeah, that wasn't brilliant fun. But the shop is good, and the venue is good. It was just a really good time. My opponents in general were just brilliant. I mean, there was a lot of people had thoughts about our Spanish friends, right? And their thoughts were they had kind of dick lists, and they came and they were not necessarily playing I don't want to say not friendly because they were really friendly. They're friendly to me anyway. I got on really well with all of them. They were certainly challenging in their games. And I think a lot of that is due to language barrier. It's difficult to forget. It's difficult to remember rather that playing in a second language is bloody hard. Sam excluded because Sam is half English and his English is absolutely perfect, as you'd expect. But the other guys, I think they did pretty well, and I didn't have any of the experiences that other people had, or claimed to have had, or one person claimed to have had. Let's move on. It was a good time, and I very much enjoyed it. And coming up against lists like that happens if you're at the end of um, like a life cycle of a game, you're going to get min. Oh, that's Ronnie doing some actual hobbying. Move on. You're going to get some min maxing, and that's going to be what happens. So I thought, all in all, pretty good. It absolutely chucked down with rain. Scenarios. I mean, all the scenarios are fine because they were just straight out of the book scenarios. That's my display board, just cutting in there. But I would say that kill shouldn't be played in tournaments like this, and I think everyone gave that feedback. So they're definitely not going to include that in the future. So that's something to a learning experience certainly. Terrain wise, I think the terrain was okay. Certainly the quality of terrain was great. There was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's really good considering it's a massive game store and it's played with all the time. All the terrain was of really high quality. The variety was slightly odd. I think because it's not just games like Kings of War. There was very little like rough terrain, what you consider like lakes or fields and stuff. So there was a lot of big blocking terrain pieces, which it's a thing. It encourages a certain style of play and a certain way of playing. But I probably would have liked to see a little bit more variety in the terrain. But overall, just had a bloody brilliant time. Um, and I think pretty much everyone did. And some of the most fun things that we did was playing games on the Friday night, Saturday night, just hanging around, drinking, eating food, and just playing like board games, card games. That was brilliant. There was a quiz. Oh, that's me with the guys from the River Warriors. That's Jan and Bob, and that's me with the Spanish team. Ah, you see how nice they are. Yeah, because they won. That's why they think they're nice. they were good chaps. So yeah, all in all, brilliant tournament. Couldn't speak highly enough of it. Can't wait for next year in Cardiff. Yeah, so let's move on and look at the results. So the results. So quick word for those. So there is no overall in the UK. You probably know that. It's just battle score. Right? So there's separate painting awards, which Dan Reed just kind of walked off with all of them because these gorgeous Basilians. The guy is just an insanely good painter. And there's separate awards for a monster and a figure and a diorama, which Nick won because only Nick entered, but also because no one else could possibly have won because he's just such an incredible diorama he created. So the top 10 looks like this. Bright screen. So Mario at the top was one of the Spanish players, and he had a 4 Brock regiment, and backed up by guns, and just a really efficient dwarf army, and he pretty much caned everyone. So well done to him. Javier was another Spanish player, came second with 95. So his army was all lots of chariots, double Drakon, horde, 3 breath weapon units, dragon breaths. And again, he did incredibly well. So I think he did lose 1 match as well. But he topped out in terms of because he just totaled everybody else in terms of play. Dan King came third. And he thought he had 90. So when we're chatting at the end, we realised we're both on 90. We're like that. Ooh, let's see who killed the most stuff. But actually, he got 92. And he had a pretty cool Empire of Dust list, kind of Wind Blast themed, with Guardians and stuff. So and he's Dan King. So and there's me at 4 with my rats. So I came 4th out of 86, which is pretty cool. Let's just quickly run down the rest of the list while we're here. So Simon Heaney. So Simon is the Simon off of Can Anyone Beat Simon in Scotland. I didn't get to play him. I'm not sure I spoke to him. Maybe I did. But he came just 3 points below me with Trident Realm. So again, a lot of these players, I think all the way down to 8th or 9th, only lost 1 game, possibly. So Dom Stavekers 6th with his Orcs. Dom's, hands down the best Orc player in the UK. He's fantastic. He went to Adepticon in America last year. with his orcs because he came third last year, highest placed Mantic. Tanjoy and James, I don't think I spoke to them. Maybe I did, but I don't know much about their armies. But clearly they did really well. Rob Phipps I know really well at 9th, and he's very, very good with his Abyss of Dwarfs. And there's Ian Sturgis at 10, so I know Ian pretty well as well. Ian's Ian's actually a Masters player in 3 separate systems, so he's pretty experienced and very, very good at the game. Always happy to lay his wisdom down, but he was playing a Trixie Trident Realm list. He played really excellently. So that was the top 10, but here's where it got really interesting, because Mario, Javier, and Dan didn't have Mantic armies. So Mario's army was all GW. Javier's armies was mostly Mantic, but I don't know if you saw in the slideshow, his Dracons were like mounted on motorbikes, which is just really cool. But unfortunately, and he had put a little Mantic elf on top of each of them, but it didn't count enough. He wasn't 90%. And what that meant, and Dan hadn't bought a Mantic army, he deliberately didn't bring a Mantic army because he said that even if he won, he couldn't go to Adepticon next year, so he wasn't going to, which meant that I won the ticket to Adepticon, which is insane. So I will be in America next March with an army, and I'm currently thinking about which army to take because I can take my rats, obviously, but rats in version 3 will be pretty different, so I don't know how much adjustment I need to make. I think it's probably quite a lot. We'll have to see. I do have a Mantic Undead army. My elves aren't Mantic enough. I've not got enough Mantic elves to make it work. I'd have to paint a lot by next March. I'm not doing that to myself. Undead I've got enough to make a Mantic army out of, but I've never played Undead. I will be playing Undead because obviously I've got the army. It's pretty painful. I just need to base it. So practice a bit with that. But they're not. So I bought this army. I didn't paint it. Someone else had painted it pretty badly. So I'd have to do a lot. Given that overall is a thing in America and you have to have painting points, I'd probably rather take the rats because I put a lot of work into them. It's one of the few Mantic rat armies that exists, and I'm pretty proud of them. So I guess I just need to see how version 3 shakes out. But I thought it was interesting because I did insanely well. I did way better than anyone would have expected, including me. I'm very much, and I say this, I'm not being like overly modest. I'm very much a mid-table player. I just am. So I thought I'd look at how this happened because I guess I can't call myself a mid-table player anymore, but I really think I am. I'm not that great. So first thing I thought I'd look at was strength of schedule. So this is a measure that used to be used in Warhammer quite a lot, but we don't use it very much in the UK or at all in Kings of War. I've only seen it on one tournament ever, but I thought it was interesting. So you add up the tournament points of everyone you faced through the tournament and just see. So for this top 10, I've done it. But the round 6 matchups aren't on War Score. So I don't know. So I've done the strength of schedule for games 1 to 5. And I've done that because I know that my round 6 opponent was pretty high up. So I don't think it's going to be a great deal of difference to my score. So this is the strength of schedule. And what you can see is I had as tough a tournament as anyone out of that top 10. So looking down in terms of the total tournament points of the people that we faced games 1 to 5, I think I'm third. So I think Tanjay had the hardest 1 to 5, followed by Dom, followed by me. So I had a pretty tough tournament, considering I didn't fight any of the people in this top 10. That's interesting to me. So none of the top 10 faced each other, which I guess happens in big tournaments like this because you're just kind of going like yo-yoing up and down the list. So I thought, okay, what else can I look at to see about how this could have happened for I'm relatively new to Kings of War. I'm under 2 years. I think about 18 months in. And I've not played many tournaments. This is like my 5th tournament, something like that. So I thought I'd look at the following things. I thought I'd look at, did I have a good matchup? Did I have a good scenario? And did I get lucky rolls? Game by game, right? That seems pretty sensible. So I looked at game 1. So game 1's against Nick. So good matchup, definitely. Rats versus Brotherhood. Brotherhood are at a disadvantage just from the off. In terms of scenario, again, it's an objective-based scenario. I've got more units. It's very strong in favour of me. And damn, did I get lucky, right? I don't think it was like overly lucky, but definitely Nick double wonned it at the wrong time. I didn't get any double ones, so that was definitely a factor. So game 1, it's fair to say that luck and scenario played a big part of that victory. So game 2 was against Simon. So I don't think so. Simon's rats. So rats versus rats. It's not. There's no matchup benefit there. They're the same. Okay, scenario wise, yes, it was a good scenario, but it's a good scenario for both of us. So that's kind of a yesy no-y kind of thing, right? But I did get lucky in my roll. So what turned it from a draw to a win was that I shot off or I wavered a horde um, with 4 ranged attacks, so 3 claw shots and a lightning bolt um, right at the end. So yeah, or it was a weapon team, something like that anyway. But so I did definitely get lucky there. I'm not saying I didn't play well in these games, by the way, because clearly I played pretty well. I didn't make many mistakes through the whole tournament, but there was obviously factors that added in. So game 3 was against Mario's Twilight Kin. So again, I think Rats versus Twilight Kin, I think it's a good matchup for me because I've just got a bit more unit strength. Okay, he's really fast and he's got tons of shooting, but in terms of matchup, I think there is an advantage there, and in scenario as well because I've got loads of units that can carry loot tokens. I just need to get to them. So the table didn't help me. I definitely didn't get lucky with rolls in that one, and actually the whole thing's irrelevant because he beat me anyway. So let's ignore that one. Game 4 was against Cybrand's Night Stalker. So again, another good matchup and a good scenario. Kill for me in that scenario, in that matchup, massive advantage. I didn't get lucky. He got 2. I double won him twice on the same unit. So there wasn't that much luck in terms of the rolls, but definitely good matchup, and the scenario benefited me hugely. So game 5 against Ogres, a good matchup, definitely. I think Ogres are kind of necessarily more elite. They're also all height 2, so I can shoot over my own troops and hit them all, and I've just got bigger base sizes. So I've put good scenario because control is a great scenario for me because I've got lots of units and I can just push across the battlefield. But don't forget, Ogres, everything in their army scores. So it's also good for Ogres, but I still think I've got the advantage just because base size apart from anything else. And I definitely got lucky in this match. So he double won my blight at the wrong moment, and it allowed me just to roll through kind of half his army. He did get lucky too. He did wipe out a horde of shock troops on a hindered charge and a single charge. That was pretty lucky, but in general, my luck was definitely in for this game. Last game against Sam, so I don't think I've got any particular advantage against Abyssal Dwarfs. I think Abyssal Dwarfs are a strong army. They're slower, but there's a lot of meat in that list. I think scenario definitely benefited me in that. I had more hordes. It's a good scenario push for rats because that's what we're doing. We're supposed to be pushing forward anyway. And I lucked the hell out here. So rolling 2 double sixes and 2 consecutive nerve rolls was absolutely massive. I wavered units left and right. I lucked out. So, if you're going to go into a massive tournament like this, if you're going to place really, really highly, luck is a huge, huge factor. You can play as well as you like, but unless you're like, a savant like Tom Robinson or Jeff Trace or someone, then, you can play well, but if the dice aren't on your side, right? So scenario, matchups, you can see from this list, luck was a huge factor in this. I said to Sam at the end, he said, have you learned much? I said, I learned I'm a better player than I thought I was, which is fair. So, yeah, I played really well. I got really lucky, and I had some great matchups. So, yeah, that's the end of my tournament report. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're in the US, I will see you in Adepticon if you're going next year. Can't wait. Please don't expect me to come super high in the rankings. I'll make a top half. I'll be very, very happy. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Death by Dragons.